Today on the channel, it's prediction time. Get your call into Vegas. Call your bookie. Kyle's going to give his predictions for this year's WrestleMania.
The spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Welcome everyone, Kyle here for something entirely different today, something we've never done on the channel, a little WrestleMania predictions video. I figured we'd run through the WrestleMania card, I would give my predictions, and hopefully you guys in the comments down below tell me your predictions for WrestleMania as well. Dallas this weekend. It is the Mecca, the all-encompassing universe of wrestling this weekend is down in Dallas, Texas. And unfortunately, Kyle will be down there in like 2 weeks for work. No fun down there for me, but I'll be in Dallas in a couple of weeks. We'll see what's to do down in Dallas. When I'm down there, probably not as exciting as this weekend for sure, but we've never done a prediction video on the channel before, but I did have two people, yes, two people, saying, Kyle, you should do a video, and that's all it takes for Kyle to do something. I hear somebody, hey, Kyle, jump off a bridge. Hey, Kyle, jump off a bridge. Kyle's jumping off that bridge. Well, maybe not, but I thought this would be something interesting and fun and very easy to do. I'm just going to swipe through on my iPad, talk about the card. As you guys do know, I watch all wrestling. I'm a maniac. I can't give up on something. I never quit on anything I do. I see it through to the end. And I guess that's watching professional wrestling is. Truth be told, I have never missed an episode of Monday Night Raw. I would say 99% of them I watched live. Yes, that's true. If you can believe that, 99% of them. I've always had it on the DVR or back in the day, VCR. I used to have 2 TVs in my room when I was in junior high and high school so I could watch Nitro and Raw at the same time. I was an absolute maniac about my wrestling, and I still am. Now, truth be told, it has been a chore watching Raw, SmackDown, NXT. AEW I do enjoy. It's got its times there. Of course, Impact, I watch that every week as well. I do enjoy Impact for something different. But I got to tell you, most of the time I'm editing my videos while I'm watching. I'm putting a presentation for my day job. I'm doing something else. I'm multitasking. Maybe I'm designing some displays or moving some things around. I'm usually multitasking while I watch, but I know enough to be dangerous. I know what's going on. I keep hip with the scene, as the kids would say. So I'm going to give my thoughts here real quick. We're going to go match by match, and I'll give some commentary or whatever. You guys in the comments, let me know your predictions. And yeah, call Vegas. You might as well take these to the bank and free on your old buddy Kyle. So let's kick it off. And I've got all of them here on the iPad, and we're going to start it off with Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey. Charlotte Flair, what can you say? Following in her dad's footstep, I would say she's probably the greatest female performer of all time. I don't know if she's quite the greatest wrestling female. I know Japan has so many great ones that everybody talks about. Honestly, though, much of North America, almost all of North America, including myself, didn't get to see all those matches. Didn't go watch a lot of women's wrestling from Stardom and all that stuff over there. But for the United States, you got to give it up to Charlotte. I mean, she is on another level. But speaking of Ronda Rousey on a totally another level, she was at the dying days of my UFC watching days, but she really brought a lot of fame to the UFC, showed that it wasn't just barbaric by bringing an attractive female into the mix, and we know where her superstardom went from ever since there, and then of course joining the WWE back in the day. So this is truly a grudge match of epic proportions. But to me, I'm not really excited about Ronda Rousey's return. It hasn't done as much for me as her initial run. That being said, her initial run, my daughter was totally into wrestling. She was all in on Ronda Rousey. She was dressing up like her, stuff like that. So that was really fun. Maybe I was more into it then because of my daughter. But this go around, she doesn't care, my daughter, that is. And Ronda seems very forced. She's always felt a little forced in the ring, forced in some promos. It feels not as natural as it could, where Charlotte, everybody thinks she's a total jerk at the end of the day, and she might really be. I mean, she's really living the gimmick, I would say. This is going to be an interesting one. I have a feeling Ronda didn't come back to lose, so I have a feeling she is going to win this match. I think we'll have a rematch next month, and I do think Ronda will keep this title for at least a few months, and I think a lot of this parlays into the Becky Lynch, Bianca story that we'll talk about a little bit down the line as well. But I do feel that Ronda Rousey will come out victorious. She will beat Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania. So that's my thought there. Now we talk about Becky Lynch versus Bianca. And now it's kind of another tale. Very exciting on Monday Night Raw last week if you were watching along on Raw. I was shocked to see Becky get her hair cut in a match just kind of off the cuff. I mean, something like that really needs to be built to. Why not have a hair versus hair match at WrestleMania or a follow-up match? You can get some more money out of that one. If I ever know anything about watching Memphis wrestling back in the day, there's money in hair matches. Sometimes you even got to put your wife's hair up on the line. And I'm thinking about doing that. I'm going to put my wife Angie's hair. I can't cut these gorgeous locks, but my wife Angie, she can go bald for all we care. Maybe not. But they should have done a hair versus hair match at Mania or another pay-per-view. I think they could have built to that. Obviously, Bianca, her hair is so important to her. I got to think one of these days somebody will cut that, and that's going to be a huge, huge angle. But I think you should have got your money out of it. Cut Becky Lynch's hair at a pay-per-view or a big match. Have it promoted to. But it does make this match a little bit more fire for WrestleMania. But I got to say, I think Bianca will win the title. She's going to get her win back from Becky Lynch. That's just the way my gut tells me. And I do think with that happening, it sets up Becky Lynch to maybe feud with Ronda Rousey for that title. Maybe they do a brand switch. Maybe there's an early draft. Maybe something happens. Who knows? But I know there's a lot of money left on the table for Becky versus Ronda. And maybe Becky ends up getting her win back against Ronda Rousey from a while back. So maybe something like that happens. Or Becky doesn't get her win back, but she goes back against her, and Ronda gets her win back, I should say. But we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening there. But I don't know how good of a match this will be. But we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully it's got to be better than their SummerSlam match that took like 2 minutes, if that. I think it'll be a little bit longer. But it'll be interesting with Becky and her new haircut. I don't know how that went down. I'm sure the hair will play into this somewhere. Maybe they'll bring the scissors out again. She'll threaten to cut Bianca's in the match. Who knows? But I do think that Bianca will get her title back from Becky Lynch. So there you go. There's that one. Now we turn our attention to the KO show, and this has been one hotly debated. Is Austin come out of retirement? Is it going to be an actual match? Well, it's listed as the KO show, so unfortunately, I think I really could probably write this myself. I hope I'm surprised at this, but Austin's going to come out to a huge ovation. We know that's going to happen. He might even come out on ATV for all we know. Who knows? But I do expect him to be in like shorts or jeans, maybe a tank top, but at least a t-shirt. I don't think he's going to be in his Stone Cold gear with the vest and the trunks. I just don't think we're going to see that. I don't think we will see it at all. And it's going to be like back to, what was it, WrestleMania 5, Roddy Piper, Morton Downey Jr. You're going to have Kevin Owens goating Austin, and Austin's going to say that he's so happy to be in Dallas, all this, and KO, you shouldn't be talking to me like this, and KO is going to keep poking the bear, and I do think it'll be more than just a little bit of a stunner action. There's going to be stunners thrown around for sure. KO is going to get a few of them. They're going to leave the crowd happy. Austin's going to be victorious, but it's not going to be a match. I think he's going to, get KO in the corner and probably give him the old foot stomps in the corner, probably the middle finger a couple of times, a couple of patented Austin punches. Maybe he'll bring out, the old slingshot move he used to have. Maybe we'll get lucky and he'll come out with a wig on and his old robe he used to wear with Lady Blossom back in the day. Probably not. But I think we'll see some punches, we'll see some boots in the corner, and we'll see a stunner or two, and we'll see a big beer bash, and I think that's about all we're going to get. But the fans are going to eat it up. Of course, it's going to be a huge stadium full of people. Texas's second favorite son, Stone Cold Steve Austin. As we all know, Terry Funk, Texas's favorite son. Hopefully Terry is in attendance. Wouldn't it be great if Terry and Dory Funk ran out? Oh, maybe they're Seth Rollins' mystery opponent. Who knows? But it should be a big celebration for Stone Cold there. So it should be pretty cool. It'll be nice to see Stone Cold in WrestleMania. So there you go. That's my prediction on that one. Then we go to the Mysterio family, one of the most mysterious families of all time, really. When you think about it, is there more a mysterious family than Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio? It's in their last name, after all. But they're going to take on The Miz and Logan Paul. And I've heard the name Logan Paul a million times. I don't understand what he is or what he does. Is he the boxing one? Does he have a brother that boxes and he's just a guy that wrestles sometimes or something? I don't understand what he is. And this is where the changing of the guard happens, where old Kyle doesn't understand these new kids and their newfound ways of doing things. This does absolutely nothing for me. I like The Miz a lot. I used to look like The Miz back in college. We're the same age, of course, The Miz and I. And I used to get, people thought I was him, especially when he was in town. I was in college and he was doing a thing after the Real World or whatever, Road Rules thing. And so many people, all these girls were coming up to me, getting pictures taken with me and stuff because they thought I was The Miz at the time. And I took full advantage of it. So there you go. But I do think celebrities will be victorious here. That's what I think. And if they're not, I think Miz will take the fall. I just don't see the celebrity getting pinned. I don't know. I don't know what to expect out of Logan Paul. Apparently he's been training and stuff like that. But this is probably one of the matches I'm the least excited for, if not the match I'm the most least excited for in all of WrestleMania. Just doesn't do a lot for me, but it does somewhat high profile because I hear he's got a lot of YouTube views and a lot of outside interest, and that's what wrestling for the WWE is starting to be more and more and more, getting outside eyes. How do you get the Logan Paul fans to check out Mania when they never would before? At the end of the day, we talk about it in the action figure game all the time. It is a business. Put on that business hat. How can we get more eyes on the product? Doing things like this. So I can't fault WWE for doing it. If I was in their shoes, I would be doing the exact same thing. And they've done it for a lot of years. You go back to the Cyndi Lauper days, Ozzy Osbourne, Alice Cooper, Buster Douglas, hot off his Iron Mike Tyson defeat back in the day. They've always done this. So I just think I'm going to say Mysterio and Dominic. I think they're going to win. I think they're going to pin The Miz. That's the way I'm going with that one. Then we get Drew McIntyre versus Happy Corbin with Madcap Moss, and this one I'm not looking for. This just feels like a match that would be on SmackDown to me. Drew McIntyre, quite the fall from grace. Not everybody can be on top forever, but this one just doesn't do a lot. That Madcap Moss is pretty impressive. He has grown on me over time. Baron Corbin is just Baron Corbin to me. Doesn't do a whole lot. I think Drew McIntyre will win. Maybe Madcap Moss and Baron Corbin will split up on here. Maybe Madcap will cost Baron the match and they'll start a feud together. We'll see something like that go on, but I think Drew McIntyre wins. And I think this will be like the first match probably. That's just my guess, but not a lot to see there. Then we get an interesting one with the Usos versus Shinsuke Nakamura and my boy Boogs. I love Rick Boogs. I've loved him from NXT. He stole my heart many years ago before he ever had a match in NXT or anything. He was squatting in his home gym, playing the guitar to Judas Priest. And I said, this guy deserves a follow from me. I'm interested to see what he has. And he's had quite the rise. This one could go either way. My gut tells me Shinsuke and Boogs are going to win. That's what my gut says, because I think Roman will, we'll see. We'll talk about that one, but I do think the Usos will lose the tag titles here. I think we'll see a tag title change, and it could change back next month. Who knows? But that's what my gut says. Rick Boogs will win. Shinsuke and Rick Boogs will beat the Usos. If that does not happen, I wouldn't be shocked. We talked about a team breakup before. Maybe Rick Boogs and Shinsuke break up, and Shinsuke, turns into evil Shinsuke and gets sick of this whole Rick Boogs thing. I think it's too early to break them up, but I think that is going to happen. That's why you put tag teams together for the future angle to break them up and have them go at it. But my gut tells me Boogs and Shinsuke will win the tag team titles at WrestleMania. Good for them. And then we turn our attention to another match I'm not too excited for. This is the New Day versus Ridge Holland versus Sheamus with Pete Dunne, or what's his name? It's some new name, like Bruce or something. I already forgot his name. It's just, why can't he be Pete Dunne? Why can't he be? But I do think this would have been a 3-on-3 match if Big E wouldn't have been injured, of course. I think this would have been a 3-on-3 for sure. I think that's the way they were headed. I don't know. I'm going to say Sheamus and Ridge Holland will get the win, and a bit of an upset here, but New Day, they don't need the rub. They don't need the tag team titles really anymore, so they can put over this new team here and still keep all of their fun, and nobody will think any different of them, and I'm sure Pete Dunne will get involved, and that'll cost the New Day the victory and all that, but you got to have some of the bad guys win every time. They're trying to push this new team. That's how they're going to do it here at WrestleMania. Then you get to Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar. This is a big one, and very excited. It's interesting how WWE is. We've had this match before. It's nothing new, but they make it feel like it's brand new. We got a newer Roman Reigns. We got a newer Brock Lesnar. Shoes on the other foot. Who's the good guy? Who's the bad guy? We got cowboy Brock Lesnar smiling and doing happy things and breaking furniture and stuff like that. Should be an interesting match. I'm going to predict there's going to be some blood in this match. Yes, you heard me right. There's going to be a little blood. Maybe it's a trickle. Maybe it's a gusher. I think there'll be a little bit of blood in this. We'll see. We'll see if that holds true. But I think that, and apparently that's the other thing here, is they're merging the titles together, the two titles. There's only going to be one champion going forward. That is interesting because I would assume if they're doing that, they're going to do that with the female titles, and that could go back to where I think Ronda and Becky, we might have a match with them in the future as well. So who knows what they're going to do there. But this should be a big one. I am going to say Roman Reigns is going to win. He's been undefeated for, 400 days or something ridiculous like that. I think they're really pushing Roman. Brock is somewhat of a part-timer. He's not there for the long haul. He's there for a good payday, a good time, then he goes off, and then he comes back later. I think that's what we're going to see. Brock's going to disappear. They might have a rematch at the next month's pay-per-view, but then he'll go away for a while like he usually does. So I got Roman winning this one. It should be a good match, though. Hopefully it's really hard-hitting, and hopefully there is a little bit of blood, because an old guy like me, we love blood in our matches, especially main event matches. So I'm calling Roman Reigns. Now we turn our attention to the one I'm the most excited about, and that is Sami Zayn versus Johnny Knoxville. Tongue-in-cheek, of course, but actually, as far as celebrity involvement and stuff like that, I'm all in on Johnny Knoxville. I love Johnny Knoxville. I love the Jackass. From day one, I was all in on that. And as far as celebrities go, this is exactly what I want. Johnny Knoxville, he comes from the Tennessee area. He grew up on Lawler. He grew up on Andy Kaufman, one of the greatest heels of all time. Andy Kaufman, if you haven't watched that, I say it all the time on the channel. Go back. Check out his Memphis stuff. Amazing. Just revolutionary, groundbreaking, so ahead of its time. Johnny Knoxville has stole some of that stuff, and I'm okay with it. All these years later, what's old is now new again. I expect Johnny Knoxville to win. I expect Steve-O and a bunch of those guys to probably jump in. Some area of those guys to be involved in this match. It is no DQ, so I got to think there's going to be all kinds of shenanigans. But it's interesting that Johnny Knoxville, he was on Howard Stern maybe a month, 2 months ago, talking about the new Jackass movie, saying, hey, he can no longer do this stuff. He can't take a hard hit on his head. He can't hit his head at all anymore because that could be lights out for him. So he is having to retire all stunts that involve head area and head injuries and stuff. So that really tells me there's going to be a lot of shenanigans here. There's going to be a lot of outside interference. I don't look to him to be dropped on his head or anything along those lines, but we'll see. You know, once you get into under the lights, all those people around, the adrenaline starts pumping. Who knows what might happen? But I do think as far as celebrity matches, this one could be better than expected. And Sami Zayn, a lot of people hate Sami Zayn. I love Sami Zayn. I especially love what he's done the last couple of years. I love that last Elite of Sami Zayn. So I'm all in on this match. I'm pretty excited about it, actually, which is really weird. I hope somehow we got a Gronkowski figure. Give me a Johnny Knoxville figure. I want a Johnny Knoxville figure. I'd be all in for that. So I know a lot of people don't like this match, but I do. So there you go. I'm going to say Johnny Knoxville is going to win. So there you go. Then we get to a little tag team turmoil. Oh, tag teams in turmoil. Everybody loves that. We got the Street Profits. We got RK Bro, Matt Riddle. He's never going to be just Riddle to me. He's Matt Riddle. So that's how I was introduced to him. Him and Orton. And then you got the Alpha Academy, which are doing great things. That's a great team. They got to keep them going. I really like what Chad Gable has really turned himself into. Very Kurt Angle-like, a smaller Kurt Angle. Obviously, the background's the same, but he's really finding himself on the mic. You got Otis, the big brute, behind him, backing him up. Swarmy heel behind him, you know. You got that going on, so I do like that. The Street Profits, great team, has had a really good run, but something's got to give, and it looks like we're seeing a heel turn for the Street Profits. I don't know how that'll go over. That'll be really interesting how that develops. Something almost tells me they'll turn heel, and then they're going to break up, and then they're going to go solo, and then 6 months later, they'll reform, and we'll have that whole song and dance with the Street Profits. I do think, unfortunately, Riddle and Randy Orton will lose. I'm going to say they're going to lose to the Street Profits. I'm not 100% convinced of that, but I'm going to go Street Profits on this. A bit of an upset. We know Orton and Riddle are going to break up, and I think this might be the time that they do break up. Orton will turn on Riddle, break everybody's heart, and then Riddle's going to get all fired up like a young Tommy Rich, and we're going to have quite the matches throughout the summer between those two. I think that's what's going to happen. If it's going to happen sometime. I don't know if it'll happen here, but that's a good way. Have them break up. Titles go away. Street Profits, they've been kind of devalued for a while. They get pushed back up, and then we see where the Alpha Academy fits in on all this as well. But it should be an interesting one. I'm all here for Riddle. You guys know I love me some Riddle. Now, this is what I should be excited about, but I just really am not. It's fallen flat for me, which is weird. Maybe I haven't listened to the promos enough, but it's AJ Styles versus Edge. A dream match for a lot of people. This is a good placement for these two because they don't have any other really high-profile feuds going on. It almost feels like when Kurt Angle and Shawn fought at WrestleMania a few years back. It was like, who's left that doesn't have a program? Let's put these two together. We know it'll work. We know it'll be good. This should be a phenomenal, no pun intended, match here with AJ Styles. I do think Edge is going to win this one, and I wouldn't be shocked if this at the end they have like a show of respect where they shake each other's hands, or it gets more heated and they have another follow-up match next month. But I do think Edge will probably win this one. But it'll be close. It'll be a good match. It'll be good back and forth. Could be the sleeper match of the show for all we know. But the promos for Edge and stuff, I know a lot of people say it's been groundbreaking. It's been great stuff. It hasn't really moved the needle for me a whole lot. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I feel like Edge shouldn't be a bad guy at this point. Maybe a year from now, if that. But I just think coming back from what he came back from, you can't turn this guy into a bad guy this soon. I mean, yes, it's been like a year and a half, almost 2 years maybe. Yeah, 2 years, but he was out for a long time of that injury-wise as well. So I don't know. We'll see how this one goes, but I'm going to predict Edge on that one. And then the one everybody's really looking forward to is Bobby Lashley versus Omos. Everybody's got Omos mania. We can't wait to get his action figure. We love giants. We love hairy bipedal creatures. I do think Omos will win this one, which is a little disappointing for Bobby Lashley coming back for this. I don't know. I don't know about this Omos. I don't know where you go with a guy like this. I mean, maybe they make him just destroy Bobby Lashley and then he's a Brock Lesnar opponent in the future. I don't know. He's just very, very limited. But we'll see. But I think it'll be a short match, and I think Bobby Lashley will lose to Omos. So we'll see how that ends up shaking out. That'll be very, very interesting. Then we get to the female tag team turmoil matches. It's kind of sad, these tag teams. We know tag teams aren't the days of the Legion of Doom, the Rock and Roll Express, the Horsemen, all those eras, of course, the Fantastics, the Sheep Herders, all the good teams of the old days. We're not there anymore, but they're just throwing everything in. And let's get everybody on the card. Let's throw them in this. So we got Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan. We got Carmella and Zelina Vega. We've got Naomi and Sasha Banks. And we've got Shayna Baszler and Natalya. Naomi and Sasha Banks feels like the most forced thing I've ever seen in my life. I don't feel they're going to be together as a team after this. It's just a way to get them on the card. I feel like they have nothing to do here. Shayna and Natalya, I feel kind of the same way. Okay, we'll just throw these two together. They're both bad guys. Doesn't make a lot of sense. I do feel that Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan will be the tag team champions. I think there'll be a title change here. That's just what my gut says, but it could really go any which way, and they could even retain for all we know. But that's my prediction. Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley going to be tag team champions. Then we get another somewhat celebrity involvement match, and Pat McAfee versus Austin Theory. Pat McAfee, he's wrestled before if you saw him in NXT, and blew away all expectations, and I assume he will do the same thing here, blow away all expectations against a young up-and-comer, young whippersnapper Austin Theory. Austin Theory doesn't do a whole lot for me. Maybe it's my age. Maybe he just hasn't grown on me enough. I don't know. They keep saying Vince McMahon is going to get involved, so we'll see what happens there. I don't know. That could be an interesting one. Maybe there'll be another celebrity guest appearance. Maybe Shane McMahon will come in to help Pat McAfee. Who knows how that'll shake out? There's been rumors of Shane McMahon being in town. I got to think Pat McAfee will win or he will lose by a Vince McMahon screw job or something like that, because Pat's not going to be in the ring. He might wrestle every once in a blue moon, but he is a commentator. He does have a YouTube show, radio show, all that kind of stuff. So he's a busy guy. But sometimes they want to really have the celebrity really stand out at these things too. But I don't know. It really could go either way. I don't know. Maybe I'm going back and forth. I was thinking Pat, now I'm thinking Austin. Really, this is probably the toughest one for me to call. I'm just going to say Pat McAfee. Who knows if I'm wrong? I could be wrong. I could be right, but we'll see. Pat McAfee, I think we'll see some interference. I think we'll see some crazy spots. I think we'll see Pat doing some crazy dives and things like that. And maybe Shane McMahon involvement. We'll see where that all ends up shaking out. Then the last match, and it's the one that's seems to be on the tip of everybody's tongue, at least my circles that I run, and let me tell you about those circles I run in. But it's Seth Rollins versus a mystery opponent. Now, there's a lot of people said Shane McMahon. We just talked about him. I think that would be a huge disappointment to many people. I could see some kind of swerve, though, where they bring out an opponent. Maybe it'll be the Funk Brothers. Dory and Terry, they're getting up there in age. They could still take Seth, but there'll be a 2-on-1. That would be great. I'd be all here for that. But I think it might be somebody they send out and everybody will be disappointed, and then who they really wanted will come out later. So maybe we see Shane McMahon versus Seth. We get that, and then all of a sudden the match is over, and then Cody Rhodes makes his big appearance. They don't have a match, but we get the grand Cody entrance, the reemergence in the WWE, the stare down with Seth Rollins, and then we build to a future program between these two instead of a one-night hotshot type thing. Even if they do have Cody come, maybe him and Seth have a match. Cody would win, I would assume. He'd have to win, I would think. He's not too far from Austin, where his dad made famous, of course, and Willie Nelson. Maybe Willie will be the opponent. Who knows? But I could see that going down and then have a rematch. Like a lot of these, we always see the rematches about a month later. We could have Seth and Cody with a proper build, proper everything. But my gut almost feels like it'll be like somebody different. That'll be a match, and then Cody will come out afterwards, and then you get your big Cody. So it's almost 2 surprises in one. Who knows? We might be totally shocked, and it could be somebody from left field, like Bray Wyatt the Fiend. Something's weird with that. He hasn't really went anywhere else. I almost feel like he is part of WWE still. We still got merchandise coming out and stuff. I wouldn't be shocked to see the Fiend make a big appearance here. Who knows? Maybe they have a match and it's all over, the Fiend wins or whatever, and then Cody comes out. But I gotta think Cody Rhodes plays some part in this along the way. So that's my WrestleMania thoughts. That's quite the card there. Unfortunately for Ricochet and Finn Balor, they're not on the card. That just kind of boggles my mind. You couldn't find a spot for them. I don't think there's any pre-show matches. At least I haven't heard that at all. It sounds like SmackDown, as I'm filming this, is Friday night. They're going to have the Andre Battle Royal. No guesses who's going to win that one. I'm not really sure. And then Ricochet's taking on Los Lotharios in a handicap match. I think Ricochet will probably win that, I'm sure. But it's just too bad. I think Finn Balor, like the Demon, maybe that could be Seth Rollins' opponent. It's the Demon Finn Balor. Who knows? But you never know what might happen. It's WrestleMania. It's a wild time. It's going to be a long weekend, so make sure you pack a lunch. I don't know if I really like this 2-night deal, but it is what it is. That's the wave of the future, and it's all about the money. Follow the money. It is a business at the end of the day. So there it is. There's my long-winded prediction show. You guys let me know in the comments down below. You call them. What do you think is going to happen? Let them know. Just a fun conversation starter. So there it is. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit the old notification bell. Follow along on social media at SirPaul64 on Twitter, Instagram, _Kyle_Peterson, and then, of course, ProWrestlingTees.com. Search Kyle Peterson. And all kinds of fun on Patreon, as you guys know. Link in the description below. And you guys tell me if you like these kind of videos. I don't know. Who am I to talk wrestling? But I've been watching for a long time. You know that. But if we want to do these maybe once a year for WrestleMania or more often, or maybe for the big pay-per-view shows or whatever, you guys let me know and sound off in the comments below. So everybody enjoy WrestleMania weekend, and until next time, I am Kyle. See you guys all real soon.